Hello Reformers, and welcome back to Warsword Conquest. And now when we left off, we had just explored Skaven Blight all the way over here. Now I've made my way down, attempting to try and find some renegade mercenaries. And as you can see here, I have been successful. However, they have actually been a little wounded by something else. I'm not entirely sure what would take these guys on. Maybe another vassal? Maybe from the Skaven Empire over to the north. And now we do have a rather large amount of prisoners that we should be able to rescue if we are, I suppose, successful in defeating these guys. As you see, they do have 3 mercenary ogres, but I can only hope that those guys will be taken out by the large amount of archers that we have. And of course, we are going to be seeing the Ushabti in the first engagement that they are going to be participating in. And hopefully we'll be able to take quite a few of them prisoner as well to sell to a ransom broker. So without further ado, let us head in and we will see how well we do against them. Now, I must also mention, before we head in versus them, the Tomb Kings, as you see here, are not having the greatest luck. They have just been taken over by the Badlands Goblins, and they've lost Numas, and I'm actually very surprised by this, because even though my army in particular is not entirely the strongest thing ever, I was imagining that the Tomb King's vassals would actually be rather strong, considering they have a lot of high-tier units. And I can only imagine that the Goblin units are going to be, well, crazy. And I can only assume that they would have quite a few fanatics as well. I'm not entirely sure about that. I haven't really fought their goblins, at least, not the faction of the goblins. I've only fought knight goblins before, of course, and I do know that their fanatics are very deadly indeed, and maybe that is the reason, but yes, I can only imagine that they would just rush the walls and absolutely decimate any defenders in their path, and then I would guess that the weaker units, or maybe the sturdier units, would, I suppose, bring up the rear of the fanatics, and then they would just absolutely decimate everyone inside. So maybe we will do battle with them, who knows, because I am thinking that I will probably be starting with a different race, but I'm not entirely sure which one, and even then I'm actually rather indecisive about whether we will start with a different race, even though the vote that I took a while ago was 45%. 45% of people did want us to start with a new race, and the others were all split into rather smaller chunks. 28% wanted us to continue with Inigo, and that makes me rather sad, to be honest, that there were 2 rather large chunks of people that wanted that. So yes, it is leading me into a rather difficult decision, I suppose, but yes. Nevertheless, let's get into the battle. Now, we do have a lance, as you can see here, and it is rather slow, but hopefully I'll be able to make good use of it. And now, do they have... yes, they do have cavalry, but I'm hoping that that will be short-lived. Hopefully we'll be able to take them out relatively quickly, and we won't have to deal with them too much. Yes, there we go. Pirate ogres doing their very best. One of our quartermasters was taken out, but we are absolutely decimating the desert dogs as they charge into our lines here. Not very smart of them, I must admit. And yes, now they're just going to be charging into our infantry lines here. And oh, I actually did 44 damage with this lance. That's actually not too bad. Ah, okay. I'm relatively surprised about that. Okay, well, the only thing I'm hoping for here is when we have defeated these guys, I'm hoping that we'll be able to acquire a large amount of renown, because, as you know, renown, for me, is pretty difficult to come across, in Warsword at least. Many other mods do have relatively easier times of it, I think, but Warsword does like to increase the difficulty rather considerably, and as a result, I do have quite a few issues finding a way to get renown, and the only way I could find was to fight the largest groups of bandits in the land, and sometimes they are relatively difficult to find, because most of the time what you will more likely see is some very large units, as Badlands does an incredibly good job right there, taking out 2 Braganza besiegers in a row. Very good, and there's 8 renown. Yeah, a little bit less than I had imagined, but we didn't actually sustain any casualties, which is rather disappointing to say the least. I was hoping that we would lose a couple of units, and I know that's very strange of me to say, but as you see here, we have our pick of any of the rescued prisoners that we so desire. And this is where I get a little bit upset, because now I don't get to take all of them. So let's just see here. Which ones are good? Well, that's definitely going to be taken. Why not? Let's take that guy, and let's take a temple guard as well. We'll use some of the Lizardmen units. Why not? We may as well. And now we do have some Skaven units as well. I think we'll take this guy. We do have another 7 spaces. Oh, this is pretty good. Poisoned Wind, why not? And then we have, oh, a Rattling Gunner, let's take that. A Gutter Runner as well, and we now have 3 spaces. I suppose we could take Storm Vermin, and maybe we could get rid of one of our skeletal units, because as you know, they are not exactly the strongest of things. So yes, we'll lose one of those and gain another one of those. That seems fine. Okay, well, if I'm missing any incredibly strong units, then I do apologize, but I'm not too familiar with the units in this mod just yet. So there it is, 99 units we have now, and yeah, we do have a little bit of space. I suppose we could take a few items. And there we go. Oh, and we are lucky enough to actually get Oggy Boggy a level, and that is never going to get tiresome to say his name. That is wonderful, yes. Okay, so let's see. What are we going to be speccing into? I think intelligence. I do think that maybe speccing him into strength would help a little bit so that he can get some more weaponry and maybe some stronger armor. He could become a warrior priest, perhaps? Something along those lines, but then I think to myself, well, how effective is he actually going to be in combat in comparison to Badlands, for instance? So I think we'll just concentrate on intelligence for now, and I think once he gets to maybe 18 intelligence, that's when we'll start increasing his agility and strength. So let's get him another point in surgery, and what else do we want to get him now? I suppose Iron Flesh could be useful? Yeah, I think that probably would be the best. Maybe athletics, maybe get him a mount so that he can move faster, but I think Iron Flesh at the moment, just to make sure he stays alive. As you see, he has very low HP, so yes, I think that would probably be the best. And then we'll get him some two-handed, one-handed weapon proficiency, just in case he does become some sort of warrior. But yes, his personality is not exactly warrior-like, so probably not the best idea. And we'll go for a Master of Arms there from that skeletal unit. So, without further ado, I really just want to find more units, more bandits, shall I say, more specifically. Although, saying that, I'm thinking maybe we'll take on some of the caravans from the Kingdom of Araby. Even though we do have 10,000 gold, I am envisaging that that is going to be depleting very, very quickly indeed, and I would not like to run out. That would put us in a terrible situation, so, let's just hope we can find some additional bandits. Goodness me. I think this actually reminds me that I need to improve our spotting skill. One of our companions needs to get a little bit of spotting skill, I think, and that would help us out rather considerably. Aha! Ah, oh my goodness. Okay, so this is a... wow, okay, a rather large party. A much bigger party than we were fighting previously. I do believe we were fighting 48 units? And now this is 72, that's almost double. Well, technically not. It's quite a little bit less than almost double, but still, my maths is not exactly the greatest. So, let's head in, and, ooh, yes, they actually don't have too many mercenary ogres, which is what I was primarily worried about. But maybe I have to worry about something else instead. So, let's see here, 2.8, we're moving at 3, so we will eventually be able to catch them up. And this, as a result, will give us a lot more renown, which is great. So, let us take to the field, and we're getting 12 renown, the game is reporting to us, but I do believe we will be awarded a little bit more, or at least I hope so, because 8 renown was our reward previously, and we outnumbered them a lot more, so not entirely sure what's going on with that. Well, nevertheless, let's get our infantry out the front there, we'll get our cavalry out the side, and hopefully our archers will do a reasonable job as they did previously and take out all of these desert dogs, who are currently charging us. Yes, there we are. Thank you very much. Oh, actually, that's our infantry. They're doing a very nice job indeed. Usually I am skeptical about our infantry, and yes, I did mean to take that guy's horse out because he did have his shield up, and I do believe it would be a little bit futile to try and take him out. I could probably destroy his shield, but I don't know what good that would do as such. So I thought, well, we may as well take him off his horse, and then we would do a very nice amount of damage with our archers, and maybe even our Necropolis Knights and so forth. And I've just realized that they have a huge amount of units coming at us, and they are spears. No! Oh no, that is not good. Run away, horsey. You are a skeletal horse. Surely you are not susceptible to damage. Well, not that much damage at least. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, at least we are alive still, and we haven't really taken too much damage. However, I am charging in our cavalry a little bit too fast, and I do believe we need to recall them a little bit so that we can, well, survive a little bit longer with them, and as a result, maybe get our infantry charging in there as well. Let's try and get our archers at a relatively good angle so that we can do some damage behind their shields. And yeah, I really should have taken out this ogre. There we are. Do 31 damage to him and hopefully not get killed as a result. Hopefully not make him mad. Yeah. Yeah, not make him mad, and now I'm getting dragged by my horse along the ground. How dare you? Okay, well, we are going to be winning this, and I probably should have been a little careful about that ogre, but he was standing stationary for quite some time, so I imagined that he was either taking a rather long time to decide which enemy he should attack, because as we all know, ogres in the Warhammer universe, they are not known for their intelligence, so who knows. There we are anyway. 10 renown, wow, even 2 less than what was reported. That is rather unfortunate. And these guys I did not believe had any prisoners, but we do get to take a helm that is worth a rather considerable amount of gold, and we do get 316 gold just from defeating them, and a pretty nice amount of experience, and we'll just be leveling up our mummies here. I do believe the mummies are a little bit better than the tomb champions, but let's just take a look at that actually. Let's just see. Now, the first thing that obviously comes to our eye here, we do have 6 in Iron Flesh, 4 in Power Strike, a large amount of health, and a large amount of strength as well. Athletics is pretty reasonable as well. Of course, no shield. That is probably the only weakness that the mummies have. And then we have the Tomb Champion, which has less health, and is a little bit more mobile due to the athletics skill, and of course has a shield and one-handed. So I would say that the Tomb Champions are a lot more defensive, and the mummies are a lot more berserker-ish, yes. So let's get some more Master of Arrows. I do believe skeletal units are probably best leveled up into archers at the moment, even though Master of Arrows aren't exactly the highest level you can get in comparison to the mummies, as you see here. They are vastly different in their weekly wage, but I think as a result of the skeletal infantry at early ranks being very, very weak, and that is rather disappointing to me, but still, they are rather weak, it is pretty difficult to get mummies in the first place, so that's unfortunate. Oh, here we go. This is a good time to get some relation with the Kingdom of Bretonnia, perhaps. Let us do it. We could actually move in to help the renegade mercenaries, but I don't really think that is going to be, whoa, too valuable. But as you see here, look at that, Kemry. Kemry, that I believe that is probably the capital. Is that the capital of the Tomb Kings? As far as I'm aware, it probably is. And it has just been besieged by one of the goblin vassals, maybe even the leader of the goblins. So I think after we have taken out these renegade mercenaries, we will be heading over there and we'll see what we can do. Although, now saying that, are you thinking what I'm thinking? I do believe we are, or at least some of you are thinking along the same lines as I am, and that brings me to a comment that I read in one of the previous episodes, and that was regarding how we can start our own faction easily, and I do believe the tactic to use would be to let some of the goblins take the Tomb King's empire, and then make war against the goblins and take the newly conquered fief from them. That is actually a very good strategy, and I think I might be employing it. So yeah, we'll try it out and we'll see how well it goes, and just make sure that we don't die here. I lost a little bit of concentration there on what I was talking about, but I am attempting to make sure I don't die this time around. And yes, I'm not going to be charging in there, straightforward, yes, everyone thought I was. Well, I think I thought I was as well, but nevertheless, let us skim over that and we'll try and take this fellow out if we can. I will get out my Tomb King sword and never mind. Apparently swashbucklers are incredibly effective, and now we will be charging in our cavalry, and they do have a lot of ogres, which is actually not too pleasant to see, that is for sure. 29 damage with 100% speed bonus? Really? Okay. I was hoping for a little bit more than that, but I suppose damage is damage, and now let's just hope that we don't lose some of our best units in the fray here. Yes, there we are. We took out one of those guys, and another one. Very nice. Now, I'm wondering, where is my mace? I did have a mace on the other Inigo, in the other version, so I do believe that I have neglected to buy a mace. That is definitely something we need to do, because, as you remember, we did take quite a few prisoners with that mace, and I think it would come in handy. That is for sure. Well, nevertheless, at the moment, we do seem to have run the bandits out of town, so to speak, and... oh, no, never mind. There is actually still one in reach here. So, let's do it. Take him out. Oh, never mind. Okay, whoa. Bretonnian Knight Errant. Aha, so apparently that is the caravan guards. Goodness me, they have some very powerful units guarding their caravans. They were going to lose if we hadn't intervened, however, so I suppose that is rather cool. They are at war with us. Well, not at war with us, but they don't really like us that much, the Kingdom of Bretonnia, so that is definitely something to take into account. However, we do now have the ability to take a lot of their units and indeed make them our own. Oh yes, you will be assimilated and your distinctiveness will be added to our own, of course. Yes, I won't do the voice because I'm pretty terrible at that, but I think you get the gist. Oh yes. Oh, and look at that! We have now advanced to get a Scar Veteran, one of the higher ranking Lizardmen units. I'm actually surprised he's still alive. Very, very good. And let's get a Tomb Champion this time around. We need to add a little bit of resilience to our front line, I think. And there we go. Now, I actually thought this was food, but they are apparently dwarf bandanas, so I cannot take any of these pistols either. Okay. Well, yeah, okay. Let's just get rid of that falchion and then we'll take one of those guns, why not? And, oh, this is a very good progression right here. We have advanced, or at least, shall we say, Inigo has advanced to level 13, as well as a couple more Master of Archers, another Duelist from our pirate units, and we have a Fang Vermin, which is the highest ranking infantry that you can get with the Skavens, apparently. Goodness me, one of the highest ranking, shall we say, anyway. Okay, well, let us head to the character screen. And now, what does Inigo want? That is rather difficult. Well, if we are going to be waging war against the Goblins and taking their newly conquered fiefs from them, then I do believe engineering would be of use. So, yeah, I do think that would be of use. And I think as a result, I think I'd like some more strength. And, no, do we want more strength? We do quite a bit of damage already. Not a lot, but we would really need a lot of power strike to make a difference. So, I think we're going to go for intelligence instead. We'll go for 2 points in engineering this time around, because we are going to need to construct those ladders or siege towers very, very fast indeed. I don't want to be caught out in the open. That would be absolutely atrocious. But, we will see once we arrive at Kemry what the situation is. And as a result, I will be cutting away, and we will see what is going on at Kemry. Okay, so as you may see here, I have arrived just past Kemry, and yeah, it really did not get too far, the siege, as far as I'm aware. I saw in the text log that the vassals from the Badlands Goblins had been taken prisoner by the Tomb King, so I can only assume that they were defeated. However, we have a situation here, and one of our Tomb Lords is being defeated, or is close to being defeated at least, by this chief here. Now, I'm wondering, should I let the Tomb King's fight go on, and then rescue him for the relation increase, as well as potential I suppose, rescued prisoners? That would be rather cool. But if we do not do that, and he wins anyway, then we don't get anything. So I think we're just going to let it play out, and we'll see who wins. Oh. It's not going too well. Ah, there's another Tomb King's vassal. Unfortunate. Now, I would have gone in there if the Goblin vassal had any prisoners, but he does not at the moment, and there we go. Ah, well, that's unfortunate. Well, nevertheless, we are near Numas, so I suppose we could take a look at what the garrison is like there, and if it is weak, then I do believe we could have a very good chance of starting our own faction, maybe in the next episode, once I have taken a couple more units. As you see here, they do have 18 prisoners, and some very good units there as well. We have some Skeletal Knights, Tomb Champions, and the most important, Necropolis Knights as well. Wow, that looks good. That looks very good indeed. Okay, 81, and what is the closest fief? Because I would like to rush on immediately to take this as well, if possible, so let's see how many they have stationed here. 175, okay, that's not too bad. I think if we have, oh, they have 12 trolls. That is a little unfortunate, but they do have 73 prisoners there as well. It could be doable, but we would need quite a bit of resilience. It might be like our Clash of Kings playthrough, where we are fighting against the odds most of the time, and we are going to have to defend a large amount of time as well. So let me know, do you think this would be a good idea to take this from the Badland Goblins? And so, I thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.